Everyone, welcome to the Tuesday Live. I am Jessica Dionne Abulela, and we are going to talk about social media today. We're doing like a Q&A session for small business. So, hi Natalia, glad to see you. We'll see who else popping in here. So basically what we're going to be doing today is we're talking about kind of social media part 2, because a lot of people had questions post last session, is give you the opportunity to put your questions into the box, and I'm going to do my best to answer and kind of help tailor some of this to you today. Let me just pull this up from Tristan real quick. Sorry guys. Welcome to everybody who's come in. So when you join, what you can do is you can tap request when you see the option to join the live video, and then you'll get a notice that you're about to join in, and that gives you the opportunity to leave some questions, things like that. Ask me anything that you would like to about social media. So if you didn't join last time, my name is Jessica Dionne Abulela. I am a social media consultant. I mainly work with authors, and I teach digital business, digital branding, social media marketing, things like that at EU Business School here in Munich. So that's why I'm doing this live today. Now I do have some slides that kind of go along with what I talk about. You can get those at bit.ly, bit.ly /Dionne, capital Dionne, capital SOCIAL. So that's bit.ly /Dionne, social, capital D, capital S. So I think a great way to start this live out today is to basically not talk about social media at all. Let's kind of forget about it for a second. If you've come in and want to leave a comment, I want to know about something that's happened to you this week that's really been great. Tell me anything that you're celebrating. I think in these times it's so important to remember anything that is a big pick-me-up. Hi, Just Us, welcome in. We're starting off today's chat by asking you for great things that have happened to you this week. What are you guys celebrating? What are your wins? Anybody have any? While you're typing those in, I'm going to tell you what happened with me. My big win for the week. This morning I sat down and I wrote down everything the last week that kind of made me feel like a failure. And you're going, why is that a win? What I did was I looked for the lesson in everything that I considered a failure, and then I found a way to have gratitude for all the things that kind of made me feel like I didn't do a good job this week. Reason being is because I put myself out there and I tried. So I thought that was really important, kind of a great way to turn that around. So if you are just joining us today, I really wanted to open this up as a Q&A session. We're going to talk about that social media for small business. Next Wednesday, I am teaching you how to do an entire year's worth of content in 20 minutes, create a content calendar, schedule it out for the year. So if you have joined us, what you do is tap request. When you see the option to join a live video, then tap send request, and that will give you the opportunities to join into the live viewing so you can give us your questions and answers. Hi, Tala. The other thing you can do is if you want to chime in, I've got this pulled up on multiple screens here so that way I can talk to everybody and answer your questions. You can hit me up on IG. My IG is, don't judge it, it's a hot mess. If you were here last time, you know I killed all my socials last year. You can catch me on Instagram at Girl vs. City. So that's GIRLVSCITY. Feel free to message me on there with your questions because we're going to be talking live Q&A right now. Just to recap from last week as we're getting into this, we talked about why your social media sucks. I mean, basically we went down to the fact that we forget about why social media exists in the first place, the 4 ways that social media is used, and then we dove into the 6 technographics of social media, and that centers around the fact that 50% of social media campaigns fail. So why is your social media failing? Because you're making it all about you, you're not putting the social into it, and you're not making it about your audience. So we've crammed a lot into last week's 15 minutes, and I forgot to hit record session. So just to kind of recap those real quick, we talked about active behaviors and passive behaviors in your audience. So we always tend to target the active users, which are people that create, people that talk, people that are called critics, so they leave comments on media, things like that. It doesn't mean that they're always leaving bad comments, it just means that they mainly use it to comment, and then collectors, people that use RSS feeds, things like that. Those are the people we target with our social media. But about 76% of your audience is going to say that they're passive spectators. So are we really hitting the right audience? The thing that we have to remember is social media is not at all about you. It is absolutely 100% about your user. And so while we're searching our KPIs and trying to find our ROI, the one thing we forget is that ROCI. So instead of looking at our return on investment, we need to turn around and look at our return on the customer investment, make sure our socials are worth their time. So go ahead, chime in. Tell me something you've done this week that's a big win for you. I want to celebrate why you're awesome, make you feel good. Let me see. I just got a message through. Hi, Kathy. Hello. So send me those. If you want to connect with me directly, you can hit me on my personal Instagram right now as well. That's girl, GIRL, VS City. So girl versus city. Hit me up on there. Ask me your questions. This is a live Q&A session. If you're just chiming in and you do not know me yet, Jessica Dionne Abulela, university professor here for social media marketing, stuff like that. And I mainly work with authors. So I'm really not that interesting. I'd much rather talk to you about your social and help you become a champion of it. So send me those questions. After last week's chat, I did have a question from someone here in Munich that came through on my Instagram, and they asked what to do right now, because as a social media consultant, they're working for themselves, and her largest clients actually started postponing contracts, and she wasn't sure what to do in this uncertain times. What recommendations do I have? Yes, Natalia, I'm so excited for you writing on that travel blog. Way to go. Now, join us next week when we talk about how to do a year's worth of content and how to turn that content into evergreen. Always, that'll be next week, next Wednesday. I'm really excited for that one, by the way. So she wanted to know some tips, tricks, or life-saving advice for what happens when her 3 biggest clients postpone on her social media accounts. And this can be applied to anything right now. Basically, my answer is there's no one answer for this. But what I ended up doing was I gave my clients a deferment plan. So if they're on a 6-month plan, I said, listen, if you sign an 18-month contract with me the next 3 months, I'm not going to charge you at all. And you can work those payments in over the next year to kind of tone that down a little bit. People need to know that you're there for them. And this goes back to that core of social media as well, is we're in this time right now where we as consumers run everything. We run the way companies talk to us. We run marketing. We run what's being bought, what's being sold. And, you know, social media kind of has to tune to that. So when you're working with a client, are you making them feel like they're the heart of it? And that can be really hard for some of us to accept. So my advice to her was people are always going to need content. They're always going to need socials. And when you're talking to a client right now, or even in your own personal business, you might be tempted to quit doing your social media because maybe you're on furlough, or maybe your business isn't open and you don't see the value in that. But your customers are still going to want to hear from you, and they're still going to want to see you. So just because the world has stopped doesn't mean that you should also stop as well. So work with them, give them some options if they want. Being quiet on social during this time might lose your brand identity, loyalty, stability, things like that. So try to find that value with your clients. So for everybody who's just chiming in, we're doing kind of like a live Q&A on socials. You can request to join this chat. You can send me comments, type in anything, any questions that you have about social media, reaching your client better, creating better client plans, things like that. I'll answer those. You can also hit me up directly on my personal IG, which I've got up right here and I'm reading from, which is Girl versus City. So while we're waiting on some questions to come in, let's kind of hit what we missed last time just to fill the space. So we ended up making sure that your business goals match your social media goals. And that means that your business goals and the way you're talking align with what your customers want to see from you. Are you reaching them at the right point in their cycle? So if they are using your social media primarily to find out about your company, then that's the exploration stage of the buying cycle. So are you tailoring your content primarily to match that buying cycle? or are you tailoring your content after they've already bought? If they use your social media to find out about you, then presenting it as the end user section of your sales cycle probably isn't going to help them much. You're going to lose that attention. So that's where we ended last week. So if we take that to the next step, there's actually 6 reasons why people want to connect to your social media. They're called impulses for why people do something. So when I hit an impulse, when we're talking about these, if you have questions on this, pop them into the comment box. More importantly, when you find the impulse that sounds like you, raise your hand. I want to see which impulse you connect with, because it's interesting too to think of ourselves as a business and then our customers and try to figure out what our customers' impulse is. We've thrown this out a couple times, both already today and last week. We've got a great question that just came in from Kathy. How do I create more engagement, especially in Facebook groups? I like likes, but I would rather engage with people. Excellent question. This kind of goes into the impulses that I was trying to fill time with anyway, so excellent timing. Social media is about creating an experience, and this is what we tend to forget. When you are using your social media, the whole idea is to give an experience. And if you think of what experience means to you, it could be like going to a music festival or having a good night out with your friends, or driving in a car with the windows down and your favorite song comes on, how that makes you feel. And that's what we should be doing with our socials. If we know our audience well enough and we speak to our actual audience and we're creating this experience that stays in their mind, and they're more likely to engage. The other thing, Kathy, is to make sure that you are engaging with them in the way that they want to be engaged. So if they want to pour their heart out to you, are you giving them the opportunity? Or let's say they're more introverted. Are you trying to force them to pour their heart out to you? It's not going to work. So it comes down to kind of understanding where they stand on those 6 levels of that technographic. And then we're going to talk about the impulses real quick, because this will help you out with getting that engagement by figuring out their motivation. We forget the basic psychology. We get so caught up in this idea of I have to create content, I have to post on my Twitter 11 times a day, and I have to post on my Instagram 6 times a day, and I should be putting out 3 Instagram posts a day, and most of the time your content is shit. So that's because we forget. So these impulses, number 1 is called the affinity impulse. People that have an affinity impulse want to be liked. They want to feel like they're part of a group. So chances are, Kathy, with your group, they're already in there because they want to be a part of that group. And so if you take yourself out of that virtual environment and you were at a round table, how would you get people to engage? How would you make them feel like they're a part of the group? A lot of times what we do in groups is we throw out questions. Tell me this, tell me that. How are you guys doing today? Let's do this together. And what you're actually doing is kind of putting them on the spot and kind of forcing yourself upon them, not bringing out their reason to engage with you. So kind of look at their behavioral patterns and why they want to be a part of that group and hit that affinity. Most people that are active in groups have this strong need to belong. So it's this affinity impulse. They have a strong desire for what's called social capital. And social capital is exactly what it sounds like. It's the currency of being seen and being a part of the social environment. So any economic term that you could use, you could actually apply that to the social media world as well. So Kathy, for you, I would say work on that affinity impulse. Try to figure out why they want to be a part of you and make sure you're speaking with that and not trying to force them into what you think, and you'll see those engagements grow. This is actually something I struggled with quite a lot with my writing group. So we're on Facebook at Happy Writing. Kathy also says, would you reach out to people privately if the group is really quiet? No, I would not, because that would actually make them feel a little bit more invasive or invaded. So if it's really quiet, I would figure out first of all what makes them happy. So if it's a inspirational quote, sharing a video, and it might be something as simple as they're not tuned into the algorithm. So when they join that group, they need to select that they get notifications. So you could do something as easily as tag people in the group in the post and say, hey, are you seeing my post? If you are, just like this so I know how the algorithm is going. And that will start increasing it throughout the group. So that would be a simple way to include them and make it seem like you're worried about the health of your group while also trying to get them to engage with you. Groups can be very difficult, but then once you find it, you can really get in there. So right now it's just kind of finding out exactly what it is that they're reacting to and continuing to post that and then sneaking other things in. And most importantly, when they respond to something, whether it's a quote and they love it, go, I'm so glad, this reached out to you today, and then take note of that. The other thing, Kathy, is maybe it's not the right time for them to post. So you really know where your audience is located. We tend to post at the certain dates and certain times, and that might not be the time that your audience is in that group. So if you put that post out, hi Amy, welcome. If you put that post out into there, then what might happen, Kathy, is they'll respond to it and you can see what time they're responding to know what is the best time for you to put it in there. People want to see everything first. They want to be the first person to like something. So hitting it when they really want it is a good motivating factor. So that affinity impulse is the first impulse. The second impulse for why people use social media is personal utility impulse, and this would also help you, Kathy. So affinity is a need to be wanted, and then personal utility is what's in it for me. So everybody who's in your group, Kathy wants to know what's in your group for me. Make sure it's very clear that you're telling them exactly what's in it for you, and more importantly, that they're getting that experience of this is what's in it for me. So how can you turn out who you are and what you offer into that experience that makes them understand this is for me? And that's a really hard step, and it's not something that's easily done. But you can do it. You've got to kind of test a couple of things like we've talked about, and maybe even directly ask them, what do you want? And then tailor that out a little bit. Personal utility tends to be most important for brands when they're in the branding stage, because people that want to figure out what's in it for me are the same people who are going to come to in your buying cycle where they're learning about your company. So if somebody generally comes to you on socials after they've already bought your product, then they're not going to be in that personal utility impulse. They're not using your socials to find out what's in it for me. They already know. So if you're telling them what's in your product for them or what's in your services for them, but they've already bought it, you're going to lose them. So that's why it's important to understand whether they're an active or passive user, and then what their mentality is for using your product. We're all impulsive for some reason. Here's a fun fact for you about personal utility impulse users. 60% of us use the internet for health-related advice. So raise your hand in the chat box if you've ever gotten on WebMD when you had a cold and found out that you have like 7 types of cancer and possibly a flesh-eating bacteria and your life is over. That's kind of what I compare that personal utility impulse to. So first reason people use your social is to make themselves feel better. Second is for personal utility. Those will be the most two for you, Kathy. Glad Sam HBL also has done that before. Yeah. Natalia, who's on right now, if y'all are yogis, she has a fantastic yoga Instagram over there. Give her a little follow. She makes me feel better during this quarantine. If you're just joining into, introduce yourself in that little chat box. Tell me your wins. One thing I want to do today is make sure we're celebrating our wins and what make, something we've done that helps us achieve right now. The third impulse for why people might use your social media is what's called contact or immediacy impulse. These are the people who are going to be on your social media during the buying cycle or just after buying. And this is where social media gets shocking, and you're going to see how this might impact your brand. 40% of people on your social media believe that they should be able to engage with you personally, and 25% want a response within an hour. So if you have a product that you sell, let's say you're selling coffee mugs and you're putting it out there with a sales focus, 25% of the people on your social media want to speak to you within an hour. Are you available to do that? And can you give them that proper service? And if you can't, how can you adjust your socials to do that? So these people want immediate attention. They want the brand to feel like their friend, and they get relief from knowing that the people they're contacting on social media also contact them back. And this is probably one of the hardest ones to tackle. These are, I guess you could kind of say, like the can I talk to your manager type of people. And if your clients or the people that you're reaching out to are in this section, then this could be a real challenge for you, because you might not realize that that's how and where you need to speak to them and how you want to show them that you're available for them. So this one kind of trips most people up. The fourth impulse that people use is something that we're seeing really, really heavy right now. And this could impact your group a little bit, Kathy, but I don't foresee it being too much. This would probably be the third impact on your group. And that's people that use social media for an altruistic sense. And the reason I say this might impact your group, Kathy, is because you need to make sure that you're not using it for an altruistic impulse for posting. People that post, or companies that post with an altruistic impact, believe that they're making the world a better place. They're posting because they want other people to think that they're making the world a better place. And most of the time people can see through it with that kind of virtue signaling. So there are people that use social media for that altruistic impulse, whether it's on the brand or your user end. But remember, we're talking about why your social media stinks, because we're not reaching the customer, your endpoint, your social media audience. So people that get on social media, the altruistic people are generally going to be on Twitter. Twitter is 80% me, 20% you, which is kind of the opposite of social media, what you should be doing. So these people are only on social media to try to make other people accept them and to believe that they're making the world a better place. And this is one of the most challenging segments to be in. So Kathy, if your group isn't growing, make sure that the posts are coming across really genuine and people don't think that you're trying to present yourself as something that you're not. Or if you notice, which I don't believe you are at all just because I know you, but small tweaks in words. So for instance, if you run a charity and you say something like, oh, we just took 10 kilos of food out to this village and we saved them. You didn't save them from anything. And that one little word right there takes a true honest step and turns it into something kind of bad, I guess. I mean, to put it in simple terms. So even something is maybe changing one word here or one word there just to seem a little bit more authentic. Guys, we've got 2 more impulses to cover, but I am here to answer any questions you have on social media. So get in that comment box, type in a question. I've got my phone over here. I'm checking my personal IG as well. You can go to Girl vs. City, GIRLVSCITY. Drop me a question about your business, a challenge that you are having in social media. I'll read it right now. We'll talk about it, because it's a time. Before we get into the final 2 impulses, what we have to realize is where we're at right now. One of the biggest trends in social media for 2020 is a digital detox. And I think it's amazing. Like I said last week, I did this last 18 months. I completely killed my socials. I only worked on my branded clients. And this is the big trend for this year, is a digital detox. So if you are not speaking to the customer and making the customer feel like they are the most important part of your life and the center of your social media, they're not going to have a reason to come to you. And if you think of this, like because I spent the last 18 months kind of going off my socials, when I get on it now, when I get on IG, I go immediately to 2 illustrators that I love. I go immediately to a meme account that makes me laugh. And then I check out 4 or 5 friends and run through a couple stories, and that's it. Whereas before I would scroll. Now I know who keeps my interest in mind and where I feel like I get the most value from as a user, because I'm a part of that digital detox area. So think about that kind of this week as well. With this digital detox, how much is your content tailored towards that return on the customer investment? And I know I'm referring to the social media end user quite a lot as a customer, and that might not apply to all of you. So think of it like your audience member, your viewers, things like that. Are you making them the center of your world? Are you applying to what they want from you? Because social media does not matter what you're doing. It matters whether your audience feels like it fits their needs. So the last two impulses here. Hi, Tristan. Good to see you. The final two impulses here are the curiosity impulse, which is one that I absolutely love. And that means people are looking at your social media because they want to gain knowledge. They want to find something new. They're looking at you specifically to satisfy their curiosity. And this is one that I love. That's how I tend to use the internet, social media like that. Hi, Yvonne. Good to see you here. Those who are just joining, don't be afraid to throw a comment into the box if you're having problems. Happy to answer those for you. The final reason that somebody might use social media, the impulse that drives them to interact, is validation. And they're using it only for personal gain, only for their ego. They have what's called an ego defense function, where they feel like everything has to support who they believe they are. And this is what we see so much from brands on social media. They automatically post for themselves within that validation impulse. They're posting because they want people to like and verify that they're doing what's right. They want people to give them that share because they feel like it's going to make the world go, this is a real brand. But people aren't going to do that because you want to. You want them to. They're going to do it because they want to, because you're speaking and making them the center of the world and hitting them at the right time in their cycle with your company. So people that do have a validation impulse, they tend to eliminate anything that creates self-doubt or an external, kind of an external threat. And they're going to put out a lot of selfies. They're obsessed with likes. And a big target word that goes with the validation impulse is accidental narcissism. And as a brand, we don't want to look narcissistic or about ourselves. So that's that 80-20 content rule. 80% about your audience, 20% about you. There's nothing worse than working super hard only to find out that what you've done is not connect with your audience at all. And that's what a lot of people said last week their main issue with their socials were. So as brands, we tend to post with the validation impulse, ignoring the other 5 kind of psychological impulses that people have for why they want to connect. And we don't speak to them at all. We look like we're only about ourselves, and we don't care about the customer or the end user or our client or our audience. So those are the 6 impulses that people might use. And I hope that helps you a little bit, because now we've talked about kind of why people are passive or active users, the difference between how people actually use socials versus how they view themselves using the socials. And then we broke it down into not only the categories of users on social media, but also now with the different psychological impulses. So this is actually, when I teach this in university, we do this over 4 hours, and we've managed to kind of tap into it in 45 minutes over 2 sessions with you guys. And I hope that that's done well enough to kind of give you little thought nuggets about it. If you're just joining in, you can actually download a slide deck that I made for you. It's at bit.ly /Dionne, capital Dionne, social with a capital S. So that's Dionne Social, capital Dionne, capital SOCIAL. And everything we talked about last week and this week are put into these slides together. Kathy, you can also save the 30,000 euro and just email me. So most importantly, to kind of sum this up real quick, if you're thinking of questions that are hitting you, please drop them in the comments. I really want to answer these questions for you. And like I said at the beginning of today's live, if you've had a big win this week, it's so important that we celebrate all of our wins, that we're celebrating everything that's making us feel human, everything that's making us feel like we're here. So drop a win, let's shout out all the good things that we're doing. So I get so excited when I talk about good things that might be happening. I forgot what I was going to say. The times. Yeah. All right. So to close it up, all of what this basically means for you is that consumption, the end user of your social media, has to be served by creation. We are the creators. Your audience wants to consume what you're giving to them, but if you're not giving to them what they want, they're not going to consume it. They don't care about you. They only care about how well you know them and how you protect their time. So your social media and the effort that you're putting into it should serve and protect their time, because everybody at the very end, their largest investment in themselves is their time. And we say this so much nowadays. We're in hustle culture. We're in this winning culture. We're in this boss babe culture. If I see another business pop up saying boss babes hustle, I'm gonna scream, because it's driving us into the ground. And in the end, what we're doing is we're being fed create content, and we're not protecting the investment of those who come to our content. So that's what your social media should do, is nurture that. Yes, Kathy had 3 women in her meditation today. I wanted to come to it, but I was doing a hair mask. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot, because I was trying to do a hair mask. It failed. And she also did her first Facebook Live. That's an amazing win. I am so proud of you. So proud of you, Kathy. Way to do it today. Get it in there. Friends, that is all that I have for you today. Those impulses, passive versus active, protecting your customers' interest through creating social media that hits their interest. So I'm going to open it up. We'll see if any other questions come through in the comment box. Otherwise, you can send them to me at any time on Instagram. I'll answer those for you. Or my email, Dionne, Dionne, at happywriting.co, not .com, .co. Shoot me emails. I love to chat about this. I'm on Twitter at I'm a Happy Writer. You can send me things on Twitter as well. Don't be shy. I am a firm believer that we all win together, which is why I love what Tuesday is doing right now, and I can't thank them enough for giving me this opportunity. So I'm more than welcome to talk to you, answer questions. So if anybody has questions, drop those in the comment box. And I'm so interested in talking to you about any challenges you might have with your socials and how I can kind of answer those for you, target it down a little bit if anybody has anything. And if you don't, that will be the end of the chat today. Don't forget to get the slide deck if you want to kind of look at this more in depth. That's bit.ly / capital DIONNE and capital SOCIAL. If you want to reach out to me, my website is dionneabulela.com, which nobody can spell, so just go to my Instagram like I've already said. Oh, Thea's got a question coming in. I'm excited. I'm waiting on you, Thea. Don't worry. So, Thea's typing in a question. We're waiting on her to type that in. You might hear my dog snoring in the background. Sorry, guys. Thea asked, how can we get lots of thousands of viewers? Consistency, patience, and on Insta TV. Insta TV is kind of a funny piece that I myself have honestly not gotten too far into because I'm shy of being on Instagram. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I tell all my people all the time to do Facebook Lives, do Instagram Lives. It's gonna help you so much. And then I'm terrified of doing them. And Tuesday are my first ones of doing them. I think what you're doing, Thea, right now is amazing. And you are hitting multiple platforms really, really well, and you're engaging your audience. You've got loyal people that are coming, loyal visitors that are coming. Maybe what, it's going to grow. And I know that that's probably not the answer. There's no simple way to just get thousands of visitors and viewers immediately. Because sitting in Tuesday, we have a beautiful, brilliant business that's a co-working space, and a lot of people might not be prepared for what's going on right now. So I think it's actually up to us as your loyal army members to share those for you. I'm not going to lie. One thing is when you hit that customer in their soul and what they want, when you give them value, like the beautiful things that you guys are doing right now and giving us this opportunity to create this online community, we are becoming your loyal army, and we're going to be more likely to share. We talked about this a little bit last week, where 20% of your audience shares 80% of your message, which is kind of mind-blowing. And so us as your loyal fans, are we supporting you in a way that you want as well? So if you're on this live, share. Help to stay out, because they're amazing. And we're all a community here, so it's as much of our part here to help them as well. And then of course, you can pop some hashtags in on the lives afterwards, things like that as well. And then making sure that it's at the right time for people. So just checking the algorithms and figuring out what is the best time for people to come on for the different sessions. So it's going to be, because you're kind of a great hybrid, this amazing new company, it's just going to be figuring out what works best for the amazing international market. But everyone that's on this, start sharing content, guys. Let's help them. They help us so much. They provide an amazing opportunity. Let's help them. We are the Tuesday Army. Let's push it. Would you recommend organic followers or use an engine to generate followers for Instagram? Do not use followers. Organic followers are the best. And there's two reasons why. If you end up buying followers or buying likes, you might think it gives you a boost into the systems, but at the end, all you're doing is hurting yourself, because Instagram is saying you've got 25,000 followers and you only got 150 likes on this post. And so they're kind of viewing your content as not hitting the market, and they won't put you into the algorithm as much. Everything that you do right now hits an algorithm, and it's interesting because if you use the same hashtags every single day, then Instagram will do something called a shadow block or a shadow ban, where they don't put your content into that organic feed anyway. So make sure you're pulling those out. Switching up your hashtags, using the right hashtags. A good way to build an organic following is a hashtag that you love. You like 3 photos and then comment on 1 photo. Like 3 photos, comment on 1 photo. Because people not only see what you post, they can see how you're interacting on other posts as well. And the suggested content in your feed comes from your audience members. So if you follow this like 3, comment 1, like 3, comment 1, you're going to grow in those organic followers. As much as we want people to interact with us, we also have to interact with other people and make sure that it's applicable to our goals and our businesses. Not only are we the content creators, but we are also those content consumers. So we have to understand our role on both ends, our impulses and then our users' impulses. The other thing with that, Natalia, you will get better analytics if you allow yourself to get an organic following. If you buy followers or use a generator to get followers, you're not understanding your audience. You're going to get a batch of people hitting you at a certain time. Instagram will then say her posts do best at this time, when that's just the time that the bot pushed likes through. So that's going to mess up with how they show your content as well. So a lot of people think that buying or using generators or things like that are a great way to get them started, but it's not. It's damaging in so many ways. What I would recommend though on Facebook is there are some groups that you can get onto for travel bloggers or female bloggers or female content creators or small businesses, and they'll do kind of follow trains where you'll post a picture and everyone in that train will comment on your photo, and then you have to comment on everyone's photo in there as well. It's time consuming, but I've met some of my best Instagram friends. I can't believe I just air quoted. Some of my best Instagram friends in some of these Facebook groups of people. So it hits that following, you support each other, you learn things about those within you. And when you're on social media, I can't speak enough about, I hate to use the word tribe. I really do. I'm kind of anti a lot of these little quirky terms that are coming out right now. I'm over them. But building up a group of like-minded people that have the same goals as you and supporting each other on social will be really great. Yeah, Kathy, follow trains are the bomb. You can even start them with a group of your friends in Instagram. So we have one for the authors that I work with. And what happens is when somebody posts a new post on their Instagram, they'll get in the Instagram group, they'll drop a heart, and then we go and like and comment on their photo. So it is gaming the system in a way, but it's with people of like interests. So that way we know it's organic in a sense. It's manufactured organic use, if that makes sense. Yeah. Great questions. I love these so much. What else do we have coming in? And you guys, something that's really great is 2020, they're expecting Snapchat to die out and Instagram taking it over. So really start looking at what made Snapchat so great and incorporating that into your Instagram strategy with the videos and the stories and all of these things. You'll even see stories popping up now on YouTube. So what we're doing right now is really the wave of the future because of that value. So Snapchat's expected to die. AI is going to grow. What is Snapchat? Yeah, I don't know. I tried it once and it was not my thing. But it's growing, coming over here onto Instagram really well. What else do we have? Go ahead and keep, these are excellent questions. I'm so happy for them. Throw them down in here if you have them. Do I need to know what TikTok is? It depends on your audience. Everything with social depends on the audience. TikTok is growing. It's the #1 growing platform right now. My students are obsessed with it. There's a lot of people in the 30s, 40s that are having a lot of success with it because they were kind of the early adapters. It's basically a rehashing of Vine and a shorter, like a mesh between Vine and Snapchat, and it is blowing up. If it works for your business, yes. My #1 piece of advice anytime I take on a new author that I work with or a new brand is don't do every single social platform at once. Pick one, do it until it's a well-oiled machine and you understand it and you love it and you can do it in your sleep, and then pick up the second. So with TikTok, with it being a younger audience, with it having this video consumption, people want to consume your content at an enormous rate. So do you have the energy, or will it hurt your business to get on there and do 4 to 5 videos a day to produce enough content to where it doesn't feel like the same content all the time, to where it feels like you're providing something new every time? And if not, then don't do it. It's better to not do it than to do it badly. Yep. So that's my TikTok. Excellent questions, you guys. If you just joined in, we're just open right now, Q&As. Yeah, Kathy, I don't have that energy yet either. I mean, even just posting 3 quality times on Instagram. When I had my travel blog, I would do 3 to 6 times a day on Instagram, and it was such a breath of fresh air the last 18 months to just kill all my socials and kind of evaluate them. So I could not do the energy for a TikTok personally. It's great for some people. It's great if you've got a specific niche that you can get into. But yeah, find your energy sources, you know, be authentic in your energy and the output that you put into your socials. Don't let it drain you. The worst thing, what we fall into so often with social media, and what happened especially with me, is it became so draining, and then my branding and my brand voice started to reflect something that I wasn't. And when we get kind of pulled in all these different ways and we forget who the customer is and we forget what their motivations are and why we want to get to them, then we lose ourselves and we lose our business as well. So protect yourself, protect your energy. Yeah, absolutely. Friends, if you don't have any other questions, I'm just going to throw the link to my slide deck out one more time and let you know, is Facebook or Insta better? Depends totally on the audience. Here's how I look at social media. Every platform works in a different way. Facebook is for community. So with Facebook, people use it because they want to feel like part of a group. They want to connect with people. Instagram is because people want to create content about their purpose, whether that's their travel, whether that's their pottery, their artwork. things like that. So Instagram is very much content driven, whereas Facebook is community driven. So you can look at the different social platforms and their purpose. So I'm going to just basically kind of talk about like the main four. If I, as a person, walk into a cocktail party and I go into the middle of the middle of the group, and I get up on a chair and I just start shouting to get attention, that's Twitter. So that would be the use of Twitter, speaking up in a crowded room. Now, from speaking up in the crowded room at that cocktail party, if I meet somebody that I want to get to know a little bit better, and I want to kind of invite them into my home, say for dinner, then that's Facebook. That's where we can sit down, we can talk, where we can learn about each other, where we can have a longer conversation, because that's what's expected there. If I want to really welcome them into having a glimpse of my life and kind of open up that family album with them, then that's Instagram. And then from there you can go to Pinterest. If I want to take them shopping, we're going to Pinterest. So that's how I look at the kind of like the big four right now. And I should make that into a meme. I really should. I should trademark it or something. Not kidding. I'm not going to trademark it. I'm not that person. But so is Instagram or Facebook better? It totally depends on your audience and what they want from you. Each one has a purpose. Instagram is all about the show. Facebook is all about the telling. So on Facebook, people want a longer explanation, and this is where all of like the boss babe, that hustle culture is growing right now, because they can talk in their posts and put these ads up that people are going to catch, because people want to learn on Facebook. They want that explanation. They want that content. And on Instagram, we just want to look pretty, see pretty, laugh. Influencers of Instagram is my favorite right now. Influencers in the wild. I love it. I can't get enough of it. So it depends on that in motivation. Now you can use them both at the same time, but your content should approach different ways. So what is the end user of your Instagram and what is the end user of your Facebook? Chances are Facebook will be 35 and older, and chances are Instagram will be somewhere between like 25 to 40. And the times differ as well, so you shouldn't post on both at the same time. Thea, I'll actually email you. I can link to a really good article that kind of narrows that down too. We just got Crystal and Marco in, and I'm just gonna kind of we're winding down here. So if anybody has any other questions, social, anything like that, please feel free to put them in. I'm so happy to answer anything. If you're having business specific problems, put those in. But I'm going to issue a challenge while we're waiting to see if anybody has any other questions. The number one thing that people forget to nail with their socials is the profile. So over the next week, what I want you to do is look at your profiles, and are your images maximized? Do they look good on all, from computer to tablet to phone? Are they cut off in places? Maybe adjust them if you need to, and then make that profile sing. Do you have content in there that isn't important? And if you want me to actually analyze your social profiles, shoot me a message. I'm happy to look at that. Kathy, we're already working together, don't you worry. So I'm really excited for Kathy's business. So I reached out to her and said, let me do something really cool for you. So you guys hold tight. I can't wait. So that's kind of my challenge for you this week, is start at the profile, start at the basis, and then look at your analytics and see if you can figure out when your customers are coming to you, your clients, and then if you're hitting their motivation, what is their motivation? Can you tell by looking at that? And if you can't tell by looking at it, then are you talking to your customers how you want them to see you, or are you talking to your audience in the way that they want to see you? So if you're talking to them in the way that they want to see you, those analytics will shine and you'll know. So any other questions coming through? I'm here to answer for you. Let me just check my Instagram real quick, see if anybody sent anything through. So if you do want to talk to me after this, please, I'm always open. I'm on Twitter at I'm a Happy Writer. I'm on Instagram at Girl vs. City, GIRLVSCITY. And if you're just joining in, don't judge my socials too hard. I killed them completely last 18 months, like I keep saying. Best thing I ever did, learning more from killing things. So you guys, while we're leaving here, remember, celebrate your wins. Be thankful for those in your group. If you need to reach out, help people during this time, please do. But don't forget to, welcome all those in your community, and don't be afraid to continue being part of a community during this time. Every single small win that you have in your life, whether it's just putting on makeup for a day, is a win. Celebrate it and don't lose sight of that. So that is where I'm going to leave you today. Thanks for hanging out with me for the last 50 minutes. Inbox is always open, and I hope, don't forget, next Wednesday at 3 p.m. I think. I'll double check. Next Wednesday, we're going to create a content calendar. In 20 to 25 minutes, we're going to create an entire year's worth of content. And then I'm going to show you how to take every single blog that you write, if you want to aim your content to blogs. We're going to break that down into creating that into a year's worth of social media posts, cataloging it, making it easy to organize as well. So that comes next Wednesday. And other than that, you guys, please have a beautiful day. Thank you so much.